Namaste. Welcome, beautiful souls, to my Saturday chat. And today I have a lot of things on the table for you. We will get to the Mythologia, Fennica, Greenwood, Margaret Peterson bit near the end. However, there's a few things that I want to share with you before I get to those cards. And may I say welcome to Leo season, and may this energy of heart and lust for life and living and sun be with all of you. And warm welcome. So my name is Sadhana if you're new, and it's lovely to have you here. So I've been placing on my table the major arcana from Melmoline's Tabula Mundi as each of the seasons unfold. And you can see in the small screen here the lust card from her deck. And I'm just going to share with you a few words about this card. And it is one that I am really taking some time to explore this month. I have another link here as well, too, in that I was, maybe I'll get to that in a moment, but it has to do with the Marielle Tarot and a reading that came up earlier this week. This card, so let me zoom in case you don't have this deck. This card is about directing vitality, right? So this is a card about directing your energy. And when we direct energy, or I should say, first of all, directing energy requires a tremendous amount of focus and energy itself. So that is something that is an essential component to really embracing the energy of the Strength Lust card. To direct vitality, to joyously integrate and thus transform the animal nature. In this depiction, a woman of strength holds the lion firmly and rather erotically by its serpent tail, awakening dormant kundalini. Now, this is an interesting point. So most of you, if you're watching this channel and you've been following me for a while, you're doing self-study, spiritual work, your kundalini is likely in your sacral chakra. It probably has moved. And so kundalini's home is in the sacral chakra. It only, and I hesitate to use the word fall, but with lack of use and awareness, it moves to the root chakra. And this is such a big discussion, but it's if you have yogic studies are so interesting when it comes to this relationship and understanding of the chakras. And I do have a course on my a webpage, Tarot Through the Chakras, which does dive into this a little bit. However, it is, I would say, for most people, their Kundalini energy is in the sacral chakra, which is in this place of relationships. And this is the waters of feelings. And this is water, right? So sacral, feminine energy, and so many other connections. In her hand, so back to the card, she holds aloft the grail containing the elemental sacrament. This is the same grail carried by the charioteer, reference to this deck. The two in one conveyed, but here is the alchemical process of distillation of self into Godhead. The cup is marked with the emblem of the sun, and above it floats the solar analemma. So this is really fascinating, because to look at this card and to look at Pamela Coleman Smith's artwork, I think, is to grossly misunderstand what this card represents. And she holds the chalice in one hand and this fiery masculine energy in her left hand. So notice she's holding them in reverse hands. Hello to Anita. And I want to welcome Soul Visions as well too. I hope you come back and are able to join us. I know you were here earlier. And this is a process of integrating the opposite in the other, right? So she holds the sacred feminine in her active masculine hand, and she holds the sacred masculine in her receptive feminine hand. And so to understand this idea of focus and channeling energy is to embrace both, is to embrace this complete and whole self that you are. In the background of this card, there is a dark volcano, behind which rises the sun and moon conjoined with 7 stars. A great red rose blooms on the card, red for the red chakra of the base of the forces of Kundalini, and a rose as a symbol of the goddess and her spiritual vortices. In the foreground are 3 wheat shafts and 3 sunflowers, a subtle reminder of the solar trinity of the spiritual sun. Lust can open the levels. Yes, this is really important too. So that the Tree of Life, are you familiar with it? On the Tree of Life, the major arcana have a path. And this particular card is the path between the 4th Sephira and the 5th Sephira. The path between Jupiter and Mars, the path from 4 to 5, 5 to 4. And this can be, and it's also the center of the Tree of Life. And it's such a dynamic place. It reminds me of the diaphragm. So I could do a whole hour on this, and I have so many things I want to talk about today. But if you're interested, let me know. Come back later and leave a comment, and I'll try to talk about this. But the diaphragm is this place between the solar plexus and the heart chakra. This place between the lower chakras and the upper chakras. And in order to move from the solar plexus, we need to come into this honoring, embracing, understanding of the harmony of divine masculine and divine feminine, and to honor them both. And this is such a beautiful season. This card is such a beautiful representative of how to begin to do that. And if you're interested in taking this further, let me know, and I would love to talk about it. So yeah, welcome to Leo season. Marielle Tarot. So that's my next thing on the list. I'm looking for my Marielle deck, which was right here in hand. Here we go. This beautiful deck. Thank you for all your comments, Anita. The Marielle Tarot. So I have, that's a good card for right now. I have a Facebook page and a Facebook group, I should say. I have both. And in the Facebook group, there is a member whose name is Vicky, and Vicky is an active member of another tarot group called Mindful Tarot, which I have been dabbling in and out of for a couple of years. And Vicky invited me to join in a Marielle challenge. And there's something here that is really important I want to say today. And so this week I did 2 readings with the Marielle Tarot, and the Strength card came up in my reading, and I really had a beautiful opportunity to sit with what that card was representing. And if you're interested, you can go to the Facebook group and read my interpretation of the reading. But the reason for this challenge, this study of the Marielle Tarot, and the process of studying challenging tarot decks, I just want to talk about this. There is a time, and I did it on my channel. I did a deep dive of the Marielle Tarot. There's a whole bunch of videos, and I did some summary videos and did a video on all of the tiger cards and another one on all the horse cards. It's an important part of the process of learning a tarot deck, but there comes a point where you must use a tarot deck and start reading with it. It's very different studying a deck than it is with actually using it. And so I am sort of opting out of the tarot challenge, and I'm going to be doing a couple of readings a week, personal readings, self-reflections, using this deck. And if you're interested to see somebody working with it kind of deeply, I've posted two. So I posted two this week, and I had the most profound readings. I adore this deck, and it's funny, this you can see the Fool card hiding underneath there, came up on day one, my first reading, and I find that this deck responds so incredibly powerfully with all that I'm doing. So yeah, it is a soul deck for me, for sure. Okay. Your Gen X neck looks exactly like mine. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Okay. So Lydiane is here. Hello. And Anita is here. And you've got your Nordic deck, but it is naughty. Well, you can share more about that. Okay, so what's next? I want to talk about the Mythologia Fennica and the Greenwood Margaret Peterson series that is going on. In the description box below, there is a link to a playlist. And I've created a separate playlist because I've not been talking about it every Saturday. If you want to go back and follow that series, I haven't finished it yet because I've had to go and find all the videos to create this playlist, but I have started it. And so it's there for you if you want to study. And I will finish that up and fix that up. So every week that I do talk about these cards, there'll be a thing you press on the screen to get you to the next video in the series, and then you can fast forward to the part where I talk about these cards. So thank you. I think it was Christine that prompted me to do that. All right. So where am I going here? Next. Minchiati. I'm going to share something with you in a second. I have wanted to do a Minchiati series on my channel for some time, and it's really interesting that Masha, Musings by Masha, sort of beat me to the punch here, and she is doing a series, and I'm going to follow along with her. And this has really prompted me to pull out all of my Minchiati decks and to begin to explore what is going on here. Now, I have the one that is on the table right now is a bit of a disappointment. The artwork is absolutely lovely. And I'm just going to take a moment here to share with you. And again, if you, I will likely do a couple of videos sharing my Minchiati decks. as part of my own study of what's going on here. This deck is by Dabrig or Dabri, and it has a Russian artist. And I was really curious about the artwork, and this is why I purchased it. It is a mass market deck. I bought it on Amazon. And unfortunately, this Minky, though it's touted as a Minkiadi deck, is not really, because it changed the numbers of the Minkiadi system and put them in the tarot order. Beside it is the Minchiadi Florentine. This is a mass market low Scarabeo deck, and currently still available. This one is a true Minchiadi deck, and has, for a mass market deck, really gorgeous cardstock and reproduction. And I'm just going to show you a few of these cards. The thing about having this particular deck, though, is that if you haven't worked with this before, it does give titles to all of the imagery, which can be really useful if you can't figure out that this is a magician card. It does, however, give the incorrect name for the card in the Minchiadi system. And that's kind of unfortunate, because this card is the Grand Duke. It is not the High Priestess. And this particular card is the Emperor of the West. And this is the Emperor of the East. And then the fifth arcanum in the Minchiadi system is the Lovers, which is quite an accurate reproduction. So that's the fifth arcanum. And then the sixth arcanum is Temperance. So what this deck has done is to turn it into a more familiar tarot deck and place Temperance at 14. So what I'm going to do is, if I ever get confused about what particular card I'm looking at, especially in studies, hello, I should be back. What I was saying is that once I finish my series of deck recommendations, just let me know if you can hear me. Once I finish my series of deck recommendations, then I'm going to do some videos and share these decks, because it'll really help me in my study and use of these cards. Yeah, so kind of excited to get to that. And I will be recording my next decks I recommend for beginners today. And hello, Katara Lighthouse, welcome to you as well. I think that, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yes, I think that some of the recommendations of my beginners decks that I recommend is going to surprise you. All right. I have to go to my list here. All right, so now let's turn to what you're all probably waiting for, those of you that have been following along, and that is I think it went off because I moved my mic, is the series, and we're going to go to the Six of Cups. So if you're following along and you have your decks, you can pull out the Six of Cups. There's the Six of Cups from Margaret Peterson. Look at the lovely colors. How, what a lovely picture these three Six of Cups cards make. Now, in this series, I have been attempting to weave together more traditional meanings, integration of the suits, among other things, to understand the mythology, the chosen mythology in the Mythologia Fennica. This card, which is called, the title keyword is Bog Spirit. The bog is a place between. It is a place between worlds. And she describes it as a threshold of two worlds, as it's not quite water and not quite land. The bog was seen as a terrifying, dangerous place because of its ponds, greenish lights, which were believed to be the will-o'-wisps, which was the previous card, if you were here last time, the Five of Cups, that burned over buried treasures. They were sometimes seen in the bog, and the treasures that were sorry about that. I think I must have a trouble with my connection today. The bog spirits kept guard of the bog ponds that were gateways to the lower layers of the world, and these spirits were also the greatest of healers, and people sought remedies from them. Thank you, Tiara. Thank you for your super chat. Okay. Newman. So who is Newman? I don't have a Newman deck on the table. Newman deck question. Can you see the energy from these, from each of these love interests? Iman, Steve. Okay, so yes, I will. Hopefully the challenge will come to be, and once I am done my discussion of the 6, 7, and 8 of Cups, I will be happy to answer your question, and likely will answer it anyway, even if the challenge isn't fulfilled. Okay, so thank you. Come back in about, or stay with us, and I will answer your question in about 20, 30 minutes. Okay? Thank you. All right. We had a star there. So I want to transition to the Margaret Peterson Tarot. And in this particular deck, Margaret Peterson describes the Six of Cups as waves, and how important it is to be with the waves of pleasure, the waves of harmony, and the waves of love. She says, allow yourself to be carried by the waves. This is an important place where you become aware of everything associated with your feelings. What role did sayings and prayers play? How do they still work in your unconsciousness? This is about tapping into your feelings to actually feel them. And I think there is some mystery, or this danger or this fear, this place in between where we don't want to go back. There's a fear of going back. And you know how this card is often connected to like the past. It's a card of looking back and getting lost and stuck in the past. And I think there might be a fear of that here. If I look back, if I find connection with the past, then it's like it has a hold over me, and I will get stuck in the bog, and I don't want to get stuck in the bog. Now we have something really interesting here that goes on with these two cards. Look at how the water is flowing here. It almost looks like this is the Bog Spirit, but it's a waterfall, and something kind of different is happening here. And you know that 6 is the center of the tree of life. 6 in the chakra system is the heart chakra. It is the union, the place of okay, Anita, let me if your comments are related to the chat, please, you can come back and add comments after a few minutes. So this place of the heart chakra and the Suit of Cups, we need to understand the relationship between the heart and the element of water, and it's I think a misunderstood place where we are trying to connect the feelings of the sacral chakra with a higher frequency of the heart space. And this place in between is that diaphragm that I was talking about, that solar plexus chakra. That is so hard to navigate. It's very, very hard to cross between that path. Now, I'll answer your question just a sec, Katara. In the Greenwood Tarot, Mark Ryan writes about the 6 of Cups, that there's this connection and perhaps a wisdom to understanding love and affection if we look to ancestral memories or past life memories, that this card and the memories that are arising may come through lifetimes, deeper connections, really sort of mystical connections. So really I'm thinking of a card, and there was a beautiful card of an older woman. She had gray hair, and she was kind of, I mean, there's lots of iterations like this where you sort of look back to the past. And we want to look back to the past to learn and to understand and then go forward, not to get lost in the bog. Now, I'm not familiar with the spirit of the Banshee, and I would have to go back and look at that. So I'm sorry, I can't really comment on that right now. I know I do have a couple of decks that use that myth. Let me just read a few more things here from the words of Susanna Salo. This is So this bog energy, the hidden messages ascending from your subconscious may make direct and honest interactions difficult. The bog spirit may also be a sign of feelings of uncertainty or fear of being stagnated. So there's this energy that is deep within your soul that is beginning to arise, and it's asking you to look, and it's asking you to feel. Welcome, Juanita. The other part of this that I think she so cleverly mentions is that the bog spirit may also warn you of relationships that consume more energy than they provide. So in the energy of sixes, we're looking to discern relationships that create wellness and harmony. And so there is this reflection, and there needs to be a willingness and an openness to let the wisdom and the experience of our feelings come through, and to do it with an open heart. Now, if you look at this, Margaret Peterson was talking about the waves and the movement of energy. The movement of energy is so very important here. The three cards that we're looking at today are the 5 and the 6 and the 7 of cups. And they're all connected in some way. And when we're working with the energy of water, it's really important to keep things flowing and moving. And I want to always come back to that. Hi, Dee. Yes, I'm on a lot later today, and summertime, so many things going on around here, and I'm just sort of going with the flow because I've committed to myself to show up every Saturday. So yeah, welcome. All right, so let's transition to the 7. 7 of Cups, I find to be a rather difficult card in the Waite-Smith Tarot. 7 is not necessarily a bad number. If we look at the number 7, which can be a 7 chakras, it can have a lot of mystical, magical energy to it. There are lots of associations with 7. It is also a 4 plus a 3. It's another layer of building Emperor plus Empress, masculine and feminine. So the other thing too is that it balances the 8s, which we will look at in a moment. And I like to look at the 7 of a suit and the 8 of a suit to see how they talk to each other. So it's really important to balance that. Okay. So let's go to the, here it says Nixie, and in my guidebook, it is referred to as Naki, Nakki. So I'm going to just read it as Naki, and just read a little bit about this creature. So this is another creature of the water. So there's something about these creatures. We had the Bog Spirit, and now we have the Naki, that are stirring up your emotional body, saying that it's not okay to let it become stagnant. Your emotional body, your emotional wisdom, your emotional intelligence isn't going to work if it, gets put into a little box, put away, if the memories get put away and locked up forever. Naki was a creature that lived in almost every Finnish body of water. It stalked its prey in wells, on beaches, and at the brinks of rapids. It strived to trick people into water and then to drown them. Naki could assume any form when showing itself to humans. To men, it appeared as a buxom woman who sat on a rock on the beach and combed her long black hair. The stories also gave the woman enormous breasts that she would throw over her shoulders to terrify people. Naki approached children in the form of a black dog or horse that appeared among them on the beach. It tried to lure all of them to ride on its back and then sprinted into the water trying to drown them. So this is a card of temptation. But I want to just carry on here and then sort of expand on this. To women, it would appear as a silk scarf floating on the waves or as a ring that peeked from the beach's sand. Sometimes it could also appear as a rock that tempted people to swim to it. Naki has one weakness, though, and that when it is recognized and when it is named, it loses its power. So this is a bit of a leap, and I find that in this guidebook sometimes there is a disconnect between the legend and the way that the conclusion, the explanation is written. Now, guaranteed this is written in translation, so there's also problems with language translation. However, just let me get my other trusty resource here. Margaret Peterson reminds us that the Seven of Cups is a card of illusion and delusion, which you will all be familiar with. Welcome, Arya. And she says to dive deep into the hazy realm of illusions. Illusions, this part of our subconscious that we perhaps have misunderstood again and again, is something that is worth taking time to discern. She says to play with your desires, dreams, and illusions. This is the realm of unlimited opportunity. Let go of all the details and observe everything at once. You know, this is funny because what I was saying to you earlier about a deck such as the Margaret Peterson that is so challenging to read, there comes a point when you have to stop worrying about the details and studying it and just read it. Learn to see the big picture. And so I'm thinking about all these temptations, right? There's a ring hidden in the sand on the beach. Well, how about we look up and we see this whole landscape, this beautiful experience that we're having at the beach. I do feel like this, like the Seven of Cups is a bit of a ostrich in the sand kind of card. We're not seeing the whole picture. Now, why is this? Why is this? 7. Okay, so this is 7 of water. 7s are on the Tree of Life associated with Venus, the Sephira of Netzach. And this is an energy of feeling and experiencing and living life in all of its senses. The sensual experience of smell, the sensual experience of sight and touch, and even the lustfulness of hearing music that just sends you away, right? So this 7s have a lust for life and a lust for living kind of energy. And so we can get bogged down, we can get, we lose our focus, we become sort of myopic here, rather than seeing all of the possibilities together. This is Margaret Peterson, see the entire web of your fantasies. Journey through the many layers of imagined images and desires. Find their source. Where do your desires originate? And where do they receive their nourishment? This is a really important question because all of this water stuff, and I know that so if you look at Katara's comments, this is so important. If we don't touch and name and allow these sensations and experiences to be understood and felt in every way, their lesson can't possibly be understood. If you connect the energy of the Six of Cups, it's like in the Six of Cups, we awaken something, we open something, and in the Seven of Cups, we find something, and then like a little child, we just like we cling to it. We cling to it. Hello, Tanita. So it is. It's a place that 6, 7, 8 of Cups. You need to be fully ready to wander in. It's something that a clear mind and clear eyes and all of that is absolutely required for. So why in the Greenwood is this a card of mourning? Well, I think that it also comes up at a time of Samhain. So all of the Greenwood cards are connected to the 8 Sabbats. But in a bigger picture than that, as these emotions come to the surface and as we feel them and as we decipher them and discern and understand them, it is important to make a decision. Through this insight, we then are able to let some things go. Some things, some emotions, some experiences, some memories absolutely must die. It's so where are we decanically here with 7 of Cups? 5, 6, 7 of Cups is Scorpio. So in the Golden Dawn system, I know these decks all don't work in that way, but let's use that because it's very important. 5, 6, 7 of Cups is a really important time. So we dive into the deep waters of Scorpio. We find the treasure, and rather than glomming onto the treasure and holding it and putting it into our treasure box, it's important to learn it, to release it, and to let it go. It's a really good way to look at it. Thank you for your contribution there. Yeah. When these cards come up in a reading, I want to make sure that the querent is in an open place, because I feel that these cards, they're going to make you uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. And what is being churned up and coming to the surface, you might not want to look at. So I'm always mindful of that. And then we have the 8 of Cups. So we're at this place, and I'm sure all of you are thinking of your favorite 8 of Cups in a Waite Smith iconography. It's a lot of water, and there is this, the energy continues to churn. It's the It's the lemniscate. Now, I said that I'm always looking at how 8s and 7s balance each other, because the 8 is the energy of Mercury, the Sephira of Hod. And there's some discernment here that comes to pass. And if you think of the 8 of Cups in a Waite-Smith deck, the 8 of Cups, we make a decision to move to a higher frequency, not to get lost in this vortex and to fall into the vortex and get sucked back into it. We choose to go in a different direction and climb the mountain. The vortex is a gateway. Just like the bog is a threshold, the vortex is a gateway back to that place where we can't get off the hamster wheel. And that ship must, the sails must be perfectly aligned in order to get out of that vortex. It's a really sort of tricky place to be. Margaret Peterson says in the 8 of Cups, get to the bottom of things. This is where we walk the narrow path into deep chasms of the unconscious that requires courage and determination. So that ship requires a crew that is strong physically and has the navigation and the sailing skills to get past that vortex. This is about losing your shape. Open yourself towards all those dark, formless, and obscure feelings that rise to the surface and reveal themselves in order to be seen. It's about shifting boundaries, and then we act. And rather than react, we respond and we make a choice. We make a choice. Now you'll see that the Greenwood is a card that is a response to the previous card, right? We have a death, a mourning, and then we have a rebirth. And this rebirth in the 8 of Cups is there's a vulnerability here. And there's a great deal of fear. And at the same time, we also know the only way forward is not going back. There is nothing more that we can do here. We have let it go, and so we decide to go. This is the first Pisces card. And also, if you work with the Golden Dawn correspondences, this is that wonderful sort of place between 7 of Swords and 8 of Cups. The last decan of Aquarius and the first decan of Pisces. We sort of commit to our spiritual journey. We commit to our higher frequency. And we decide to get out of the gossip, the quagmire of material mundaneness that no longer matters to us, whatever that might be for you. Okay, so let's read a few words from Susanna Salo. There is a danger of getting drawn into even deeper waters if you allow your feelings to begin to churn like the vortex. Try to see your situation in an objective way and to find constructive solutions instead of reacting emotionally. And like I said, I like to use the words respond instead of react. Okay. Bye, Katara. To sink into the vortex symbolizes a person descending into the depths of their own emotional life. When everything is destroyed, it frees space for new things to be born. The chasm is a symbol of you facing your own emptiness. This helps you to heal and find new positive direction for your life. The whale is a symbol of understanding and intuition that rises from the vortex to save you in your situation. The vortex represents the unknown part of yourself that you're going to face right now or very soon. Something has to be fixed or renewed. You have all that you need within you to sort out the situation. The old experienced sea dog represents your wise inner guide to whom the card urges you to listen. Yeah, the Sheila Nagig is interesting here. It's almost like there is a, it connects us to the yoni, to the sacral chakra, to these waters, to this idea of birth and rebirth coming into this place. So you could think of your favorite Eight of Cups and maybe apply that keyword rebirth. And I say that it's this whole process of 6 and 7 and 8 of Cups is one of, we don't want to skim over the surface. It's really important to go into the waters and to experience the chaos so that we can understand where we're going or what we're leaving and what it is that needs to die. So yeah, for those of you that weren't here at the beginning, I am in the process. I've started a playlist for all of these discussions so that if you want to go back, you'll see the connected Saturday chats, because I know I didn't discuss this every Saturday. So I'm in the process. I'll finish that up and catch up later today. And it's linked in the description box below. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to leave you with that. And I set myself a goal for today. I've never touched this little button. I want to thank Tiara Pink for submitting a question. And I said that if you put up a super chat today, that I would respond to your question. Okay. So I hope that you are still here, Tiara. And if you're not, you can. Oh, you're still here. Yay. Okay. Newman deck question. I'm just not sure what the. Oh, Newman. It's 2 words. It's 2 words. Oh my God. I thought you were talking about an author named Newman. Can you see the energy from each of these love interests named Iman, Steve, names? So we have 4 new loves. Iman, Steve, Mattia, and Chad. Am I going to see Really Talk on Instagram offer traveling August? So you've got a couple of questions here. Okay. All right. So, wow. I'm going to grab a deck. Which one do I want to use? Okay, that is a little heavy. Okay, let's do this one. Sorry, I'm just trying to choose a deck that I can read fairly quickly here, but also get lots of energy flowing. Yeah, they are precise, my love interests. I am so picky. Well, my goodness, aren't you lucky to have 4 love interests? You must be a very busy lady. Okay. right, so as they are named, Iman, Steve, Mattia, and Chad, I'm going to lay 4 cards on the table to represent these love interests and speak to a quality that characterizes each of them. Okay? This is the Tarot of Echoes. It's a lovely deck for looking at energy. And let me zoom out so you can see all 4 cards. And so left to right, they are Iman, Steve, Mattia, and Chad. Okay. The first one that really caught my eye is the energy of Steve. So this is Steve. Steve is one, there's almost a humility here, a humbleness, and that truth and integrity are really important. So that quality is really unusual, I think, in some people. Hi, Chantel. Okay, and the third card, which is Mattia, values the give and take, the balance in the dynamic and relationship. He is willing to step back and allow your masculine to shine. And if you need his masculinity to come forth, he will take the lead and allow you to be in your feminine. So these 2 cards here speak really loudly to me. I'm in Steve. You said Steve is, oh my God, you're seeing the twins. This is Steve and this is Mattia. So these twin brothers are the ones that are capturing my attention. And I think this is where the potential lies. Now, I think it would be really important to this one that, I mean, I don't know if he knows you're dating his brother, but he would be devastated if he didn't know. The one on the far right, the last one, feels like he may not be proving himself would always be important. He would need to be validated. I really feel like this is not the greatest of options here. And the first one, who is Iman, I would suspect that he is processing a lot, that he is working through a lot of his own emotional issues, and what is attracting you to him is likely a mothering kind of quality. Okay, so I hope that gives you some sort of idea. And then to address your second question, it says, I am going to see Really Talk on Instagram offer me traveling in August. So I don't know which one is offering to travel with you. Are you asking if this is a good idea, or I'm not sure what you're asking. Yeah. Is one of them inviting you to travel with them? That's what I'm sort of guessing that you're asking here. And is that a good idea? Well, the person that I would travel with would be this person. This is a really beautiful energy to represent somebody. It shows sort of an evolved spirit, an evolved spirit. One that, like I said, it's really important that in a relationship you allow each other to take the lead when necessary. So, yeah. So I hope that gives you some sort of idea. You said one of them is inviting me because it would be toward Europe. Okay. I wouldn't travel with this person. I wouldn't travel with this person. I don't know. I mean, yeah. I think there's something that's definitely worth exploring. And I'm sorry I haven't got all their names straight, but I would be very curious about traveling with this one. Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot to juggle. And please know that this one, integrity is really important to them. So make sure that you are being honest with them. Okay. If you would like to take this any further, there's a link below where you can book an extended reading with me. I do readings on Zoom. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for your super chat. All right, my friends. That is a wrap for today, and I want to thank you all so much for joining me. And it's a real pleasure to share all of these things. And I also want to say that your encouragement, I've received some really beautiful comments this week, and that helps me to come back here. It really helps me to stay fired up about doing this. And it means that I continue to study and research, and that's so important to me in this journey. I want to wish you a lovely rest of your day, and may you all find joy and strength and courage in balancing your divine masculine and feminine. Take good care. Namaste.